Good morning. We hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday morning.
I know we are. So good morning, guys. We are just having a morning together and hanging out while the kids are doing their thing. And we've just been thinking a lot about one thing that we've been working on that I don't think we've had the opportunity to say anything about. But before we said anything about it, we wanted to actually have the opportunity to explain why we're doing it, because it tends to be kind of a controversial subject.
Yeah, and we also didn't want to say anything because we weren't for sure if it was actually going to happen or not, but it's gonna happen. So let us rewind a little bit. So a few months ago, Roman had spina bifida clinic, and what that is basically we just go to one doctor's appointment where we sit in a room all day long, and then his specialists come in one at a time to talk to us.
It's the gauntlet of appointments.
Yeah, it's a really long day, and it can be exhausting mentally. On that day, we were talking with, I can't remember if it was the rehab doctor or the PT. Anyways, she mentioned something to me about a wheelchair for Roman. And normally I wouldn't be open to hearing that.
Both of our mentalities up front would be like, no way. We work so hard for Roman for him to walk. He's so blessed compared to a lot of other kids with his diagnosis, and we didn't want to even think about using a wheelchair for him.
But I am very active in my spina bifida groups on Facebook, online, and I follow a lot of these kids and what their moms post and everything, and I tend to really focus on the kids that function like Roman do. And I know that a lot of these kids, some of them who don't even wear braces, have a wheelchair. So when she said something to me, I was like, sure. She was like, we actually have a wheelchair that we let kids use here. I was like, sure, Roman can try it. He's probably bored. We were there all day. I was like, it'll give him something to do for a few minutes. So we went out in the hallway, and she brought the wheelchair out, and he hopped in it and took off down the hall chasing the nurses and giggling. It was really cute. But so I was like, you know, sure, if we can get insurance to cover it, then I will be open to the idea of getting one for him. But if our insurance won't cover it, then no, I don't think we need it right at this time. But I had to then go home and talk to Adam about it. And what were your initial thoughts?
I mean, and just like probably a lot of your guys's are and our families, I didn't want anything to do with it. You know, I didn't want to feel like I was giving up on Roman and his abilities. I didn't want, you know, I just remember our neurosurgeon, who I respect with every bit of, he's like probably my favorite doctor I've ever met in my life, next to our MFM, that told us before he left, you know, don't ever let him get a wheelchair. You know, don't ever let it. It'll make him, you know, lazy, is basically what he said.
Yeah, and you said that to me. You were like, you trust Dr. Elbaba with all of your heart. You trust everything he said, and that's what he said to us on one of the last times we saw him. And I was like, yes, I do trust him with everything, and I do respect what he has to say. But like I said, I follow these groups, and I know that it's very common for kids to have a wheelchair, and there's many reasons for that.
There's multiple reasons, but the big things that got me is when we went to Disney. We went to Disney, and Roman can walk. We know that, and people don't understand the difference between spina bifida walking and from a typical 3-year-old walking. Roman fatigues out a lot quicker. I think Whitney's actually told me she read a study where they use 25 to 30% more energy to do basic things like that. So it's tough, you know, and then he's 3 years old, I mean 3.5, and he's very intelligent. He doesn't want to be in a stroller like a baby, and that's how he sees that. So really it was making me feel like it's going to make him more independent, you know, and being
Which
able
a
to do
lot of
his own
people,
thing.
yeah, and a lot of people don't see a wheelchair as independence. They see a wheelchair as like just a terrible thing, and that's just
they're
not
held captive by their wheelchair.
right.
And there's
they're
actually
wheelchair bound.
having a disability like Roman's, they can walk, they can stand, but they can't go for long distances.
Well, and that's the thing with Roman. I think a lot of, or some of our followers for sure, they see where he's come from, and he has come so far, and they just kind of think that he's like healed. And with spina bifida, there's no cure. You're never healed. I mean,
He's got permanent nerve damage in his back. The weakness that he has in his ankles, that's why he has to wear his braces, because he's got no muscle tone in his ankles down there. So it's different than your typical child walking.
There's been many times where we are like at the park and he's playing, and then we want to go on a walk after the park, and he will walk a little bit and then he's like, hold me. And I'm always like, okay, I'll hold you, but let's try to get up to that tree that's up there, and then I'll hold you. And you know, just trying to push him as far as he can go. And usually by the time we get to that tree, he's tired and he wants me to hold him.
And then you just don't want him to be so cranky or so tired at the park. Then he can't enjoy the park because he's exhausted from it.
So when we told our family, these are kind of some of the things that they said to us, and probably some of the things that you guys are thinking. So they said,
We're commenting.
He's doing so well. Why would he need a wheelchair? Won't that make him lazy? Once he gets in a chair, he's never going to get out. Why can't he just use a stroller if he gets tired, or you can carry him? You're going to give him a complex that you're giving up on him. And we've kind of covered some of these things.
You need to put a wheelchair ramp at your house now. Is something that we definitely heard from one of our parents. Not naming names.
I think she was joking. But, yeah, so it is, I think the wheelchair just kind of makes his diagnosis more real.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for people who don't live in it every single day like we do to see. So the thought of seeing your grandson in a wheelchair, like I said, a lot of people who see a wheelchair, they just think it's like a devastating thing. When in all reality, it's really just the opposite of that. It gives him freedom. It gives him more energy. We are not giving up on him. We want to give him the best. We've always fought to give him the best. We've always strived to do what we can to make his life better. And having him get tired after playing at the park, or before he even gets to the park, say we have a long walk somewhere. We go to this place downtown called Science City a lot. And you have to walk a long way. You have to park in a parking garage, and then you have to walk inside, go upstairs, walk around. I mean, it's a long way to get there. So if Roman had to walk that whole way to get there, he would be incredibly tired before we even got there to play. So by the time we got there to play, he'd want to sit down and rest, or want us to hold him. Why can't you use a stroller? Well, Adam's kind of talked about this already. He's 3, and a stroller is appropriate for a 3-year-old. But if any of you guys have 3-year-olds, you probably get this a lot. We try to put him in it, and he screams and doesn't want to be in it. He wants to walk. He wants to walk. Well, and that's mainly because he wants to be in control, right? So if he has a wheelchair, he is actually going to be in control. He will be wheeling himself wherever he wants. Our main goal with the wheelchair is for him to be completely independent with it, to get in and out of it on his own, to wheel it wherever he wants to go, just to be independent, so he doesn't need us to go where he wants.
The other thing is if, let's say for instance, he scratches his foot somewhere when he's walking outside, or he catches it on something in the house, their wounds on their feet take so much longer to heal because of the poor muscle tone, increasing the poor circulation down there. I've had parents tell me in my office that it's take all summer for a wound to heal and on a foot that was caused by the swimming pool.
And they don't want you to put pressure on it at all.
And another reason, you know, that we didn't discuss on why he would need this was, God forbid, Roman has to get a procedure done, you know, and he has to get some sort of surgery on a tendon or something in his leg.
A lot of kids have surgeries with spina bifida. I mean, it is incredibly common that he will probably need a surgery eventually, whether it's a tendon thing or, I don't know, bowel and bladder, There's tethered cord surgery that's incredibly common. So there's a lot of different surgeries that he may or may not need. Now, we always pray that he won't. If he does, you know, we can't just go to the store and buy a wheelchair, like not one that he can maneuver anyways. So in order to get a custom wheelchair, it can take months. I've heard some moms tell me that it has taken up to a year to get their child's wheelchair.
Because you have to fight insurance for everything, and that's just for them to accept it. We still have to pay thousands of dollars for this wheelchair just to get it, but just for them to accept it to where we get the discount, so it's not a $12,000 wheelchair, it's a $3,000 wheelchair. And then it takes time to make it. So because Roman's wheelchair is custom made, so for his height, his weight, everything that fits him.
So it just takes time. You know, we just want to be prepared. We want to have what he needs to make his quality of life the best that it can possibly be. And we truly believe and feel like getting him this wheelchair is going to help him. And, you know, our goal with this wheelchair is that it sits in our garage and we don't ever use it.
Just like a lot of my tools, you know, and that's kind of, it's kind of like a tool for him, just another tool in his tool bag that he can have if he needs it, you know, not that just so it's something that's always there. It's like if you have a big project and you have to go get everything gathered up, you have everything just in case you need it. So that's kind of what it's there. Ideally, it collects dust, you know.
But we know there's sometimes that he's for sure gonna need it.
So overall, we just wanted to do this as kind of to let people know, you know, this is why you're going to see him in a wheelchair, because we do care about you guys, and we love
We know
our
you guys
supporters.
care about him, and we just want to fully educate everybody on why we've chosen this, because if our family has given us some backlash, we assume that we will be getting some comments from you guys. And again, we know that you guys just care about Roman and you want the best for him just as we do. So,
and we just want to educate people, you know,
Yeah.
educate people on you know, we posted a couple of videos by a guy that talks about his wheelchair, and, you know, to understand just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you're 100% in a wheelchair. You know, that way just changes thoughts, and it's changed my thoughts. I didn't know anything about this. I'm sure Whitney didn't. You know, these are things that you don't know, and our whole point of this vlog and everything that we do is to help educate. So we hope you guys all learned a little bit today, and
sorry if we're scatterbrained.
yeah, you're gonna see a pretty tricked out wheelchair though, I'm not gonna lie. He looks pretty adorable.
And he is super excited. That is one of the things that I'm a little nervous about. I'm a little nervous that he's gonna want to use it a lot, especially because Leighton and Gracie are going to want to use it, and he's gonna be like, no, it's mine.
But it's like getting a new bike.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you're not gonna wanna go ride your new bike, but he's also gonna wanna get off his bike and go walk into the house. He's not gonna wanna live in the thing.
He's gonna realize that, you know, in this world that we live in, it is more convenient to walk. I just wanted to thank you guys for all of your kind, encouraging, sweet comments. I've never been told that I'm a good mom as many times as you guys have told me, and even though we don't reply to all the comments, we really do read them, and you guys are awesome. It's rare that we get a negative comment on Roman's page, and that was one of the things we were really scared about. Going so public. So we just really want to tell you guys thank you so much for all of your kind words and for just sharing the love and positivity on Roman's page.
But she also is the best mom ever, and the best wife most days.
All right, guys, thanks.